Hi there, Steve here again. It's a holiday here, but I'm going to stick to my regular schedule, putting out these videos. Today I want to talk about, now my last video I said, content is king. And I said that this idea that developing the ability to notice is one of the ingredients of success in language learning. And then I said, but I've come to realize that ability to notice develops naturally if you get exposed to enough content. Of course, one of the problems with content is, of course, at an early stage, there isn't much compelling content that you can actually understand. So that's where you get into graded readers. You get into some of the mini stories we have at Link. I have said it would be great to have more conversations, if people would contribute conversations that could be transcribed. Maybe we have a website somewhere that people put up conversations in different languages. That's kind of a bit of a dream that I have. But another thing that I want to emphasize today is one thing that I find very important in language learning is variety. Covering the same ground via different, from different directions, different textbooks, different beginning, starter books and so forth. And so I wanted to put in a plug today for this Assimil Persian that I picked up in Montreal. It is very good, and there are many people who swear by Assimil. I found them somewhat indifferent. It depends on the language. I like the Russian one. The Arab one is okay. I find the content a little bit artificial. But the Persian one is very good. And so I'm combining this with my mini stories. So with the mini stories, I get exposed to a lot of vocabulary. I get a sense of the rhythm of the language. But there are things about how the verbs work in Persian, which doesn't come out of just doing mini stories. So I'm exposed to it, and now I'm sort of ready to get a bit of an explanation of how these verbs work, verbs that I've already been exposed to. And so the great thing with combining my mini stories with working my way through this is that with each little item of text that they provide little explanations. I also bought a book, I think it's Living Language, which is a terrible book. Too many exercises, lots of heavy explanation, things that you aren't going to remember. I think in chapter 2, they give you all the possible relatives, uncle, aunt, cousin, mother-in-law, father-in-law, all this kind of stuff that's very difficult to remember and not all that compelling, let's say. So I think the main point that I want to make today is that, with regard to anything, I noticed there was some discussion about the importance of speaking early. My good friend Ollie Richard says he finds it very stimulating to speak early. It triggers, neural connections or whatever it might be. All of this is true. But, and so to the extent that you can mix in some conversation, that's good too. But the issue is, how do you do that? So if you don't have much of the language, you can't just accost someone in the street. You basically have to pay a tutor, or you have a very good friend who will speak to you. And then the next question is, then what are you going to talk about? So again, in the case of my Farsi, I base it on my mini stories. So I read in the mini stories, and I might even give you a video of me reading in Farsi and then answering questions in Farsi about what I just read. So at least I have some body of vocabulary where I have the words and I understand what it's all about. But we couldn't have an unprepared conversation because I just don't have enough experience. And of course, Rana, my tutor, she's a tutor at Link, so I pay her. So sure, you can pay someone to speak to you early, or you can simply spend more time listening and reading and varying your activities the way I do. At Link, I read my little mini stories, I review the words, I listen in the car, I read a bit of Assimil, all of those things. Once I got the book, I can do as much of it as I want. And so I don't have to deliberately arrange a meeting with a tutor. However, in the case of Farsi, I am finding it quite good, especially since we don't have text-to-speech and I simply don't know how some words are pronounced. I find it very good to have that session with Rana in Farsi. So I think one important rule in language learning is vary it, mix it up, don't get too stuck in dogmatic positions, and try to enjoy it. And usually with enough time and exposure, you will eventually reach your goals. Bye for now.